All right, here we go, boys. It is episode 50 of Your House Our Rules. If you've seen the other episodes, you know kind of what we're doing, introducing some of the people around the Your House Our Rules brand, bringing some of them in, seeing what they got. We have two faces that you have seen before, Jeff Hay, Mike Wallet, as usual, and a new face that you have seen now, Drew Harrison.
The pride of Cincinnati, Ohio.
The pride of Cincinnati, Ohio. That's
Wow. Not really.
That's.
Not really.
We're so proud of you.
I am proud of you.
That makes someone.
Drew wants to talk about, like kind of a come up that Cincinnati has been coming on, specifically towards sports. And I mean, if you really think about it, sports is something that's so intertwined with, culture around the world. But like
the culture of Cincinnati in particular, we have beer, we have Cincinnati chili, we have sports, and that's Cincinnati.
Yeah. We're always that. Cincinnati is definitely like a sports town. I mean, even on like a high school level, when it comes to like the GCL football,
very
and
much,
and
very
stuff
much.
like that.
I will put us up with anyone as far as high school football,
and a lot of like very good recruits on the college level, pro level. I mean, LeBron James, one of the most popular athletes of our time, is from Cleveland. But I think we're trying to
Akron.
Yeah, he's from Akron.
Yeah. We're trying to kind of relate it to the fact that Cincinnati is kind of on a come up. You know, we've always had the Reds, which is the first MLB team of all time.
But see, here's the thing: we are demoralized. But what I was getting back to, we are starved for a winner. If the Reds start winning, that stadium will be full immediately.
Let me finish.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, the thing about like the whole thing is like we do have a historic baseball program. First MLB team.
First night game.
We did our whole thing with the Big Red Machine.
Yep.
We have multiple championships. We're up there with like the Yankees and stuff like that.
The opening day itself is a huge day.
It's a huge deal.
It is a holiday.
But now we're starting to move into a time where like baseball is kind of taking a back seat, and like the Bengals, who have historically just been an absolute fucking terrible franchise, is all of a sudden played in 2 straight AFC Championship games.
And
we have a soccer club now that is, like you said before. Go ahead and say what you just said before.
It shows you how easy it is, Keith. Dude, for the past decade, it's been Mike Brown is public enemy number one. The Bengals suck. They put 2 years of legitimate winning football on the field, and good luck getting the fucking ticket right now. Like, we are starved for a winner in Cincinnati. We are starved for one. Just put a good product on the field, and they will come. If you build it, they will come. Go on.
People are wrong about the whole Mike Brown thing. Like, if you just look at the Bengals since the 2000s, like, we've built 3 winning teams that were like good, continuous, like playoffs almost every year, really good squads. Like in just the last 20 years, we have done fantastic in that department. I think Mike Brown gets way too much heat, but I understand why he gets that heat. I still
to this day will not support Mike Brown.
No, I get that, but I think he's actually stepped back and allowed the control of the team. So he should get credit for that, if that alone. Like,
and I honestly think
people need to get off his nuts just a little bit.
He has seen an opportunity. He's, I think, 91, 92 years old. Mm-hmm. He has seen an opportunity. Win one Super Bowl or even just an AFC championship like he's done. He can change the entire narrative on his entire life. He can rewrite the first sentence of his obituary if he gives the reins to his daughters, lets them spend money, lets them try to put a winner on the field. Everything that's been said about him, it's wiped off. It's gone.
Mm-hmm. You can change a legacy with one easy step.
And I think he realizes
winning.
that.
It's not
people will forget all the other years and all the other
bullshit. Especially in a city like Cincinnati, where we don't win a lot.
If you win, absolutely.
Yep.
It's for me specifically. I know not everyone thinks the same way as I do. Mike Brown is never going to be able to be on that pedestal for me. He's never going to be able to change the things that he's done. Like the Bengals have been an abysmal franchise, and all he's cared about is putting money into his own pocket.
He has said, "I do not care about winning. I care about shareholders' profits."
Now, stepping back and letting Katie take over the team and stuff like that, it's definitely a big move. It's definitely something that can change. Yeah. And a lot of things are happening that is for the benefit of that. Won't necessarily change for me. One thing that I will say about Mike Brown, I mean, like the early 2000s, like the mid early 2000s, like the 2005, 2006, like when Palmer came in, Chad Johnson, and all that.
Would have won
we
the
had
Super
a good
Bowl
team.
if he didn't
We
blow his
always
knee out.
Marvin was always good at getting good players and fucking putting
absolutely.
a team together. He just
100%.
wasn't necessarily a good.
We
coach.
were horrible with penalties when he was there and clock management.
undisciplined,
Like
but that
other
comes back
than
on
that,
him immediately.
But another thing that sucks about when Marvin was here was like we had a really good team and then we lost coordinator. Like something that's gonna happen
That's
to
a
the team
compliment to
now.
Marvin, though, at the
well,
same
right,
time.
but like
Yeah.
our offense had to keep changing, like because the offensive coordinator's gone, so now we got to do a new system. Now the offensive coordinator's gone.
You're saying we
That's
had
one
no
of the
identity.
well, that's one of the benefits about now. It's not necessarily not having an identity. That's one of the benefits about Zach Taylor calling the plays. Is if you lose your offensive coordinator now, your offensive system is still in place.
Can I
that's
riff off
beautiful.
that? So
go ahead.
one thing, teams do not hire defensive minded coaches now. It's going the way of the dinosaurs is becoming like more and more rare, and that's like you see it with Marvin. Like I don't know, like he could get you, he could build a team, but like he didn't have that offensive minded like aspect to him, and it always I feel like
the issue with the Marvin era of the Cincinnati Bengals was the fact that Marvin Lewis just really wasn't that good of a coach.
I think there was a lot of luck too, dude. If Palmer doesn't blow his knee out, we win the Super Bowl.
He
that
was
year.
able to fucking get talented
was a hell of a
players
team.
and like
That's Duke Tobin.
and like do that, but like his clock management awful. Fucking
Yeah, exactly.
How many years he was
that
over
and
here?
penalties killed us.
He
Did you
was
ever
here
see
for
him
over-
fired up? Did you ever see him like get like into
I've
it?
said that a lot.
No, not
That's
really.
not really his personality.
No, it's
No.
not. But it also helps the mindset of the players on the
Absolutely.
field to feel that energy from
Absolutely.
your head coach.
100%.
For sure.
100%.
That's why I feel like this year is the year that the Bengals have, truly, like right now in the immediate future, I think is this year to do it.
Oh, we need to win the
Because
Super
our
Bowl this
window's
year because
closing.
we're
Because
losing
we have-
coaches next year and we're
Exactly.
going to lose
We're gonna lose
players.
players.
This
So
is
much
the
is
year
gonna
we have
happen.
the advantage with
Yep.
Burrow and everyone still being on rookie
Absolutely.
deals.
We
We
have
need to go all in
We
this
kept
year.
Lou. We kept Lou Anarumo, and that goes back to my point because look at this. The Cardinals hired the Eagles defensive coordinator, right? What is the one thing that Lou does better than any coach definitively in the NFL?
Halftime
adjustments. What lost the Eagles the Super Bowl? The most abysmal defensive halftime adjustments you have ever seen.
Well, to be honest with you, the Eagles defense did not really play
Absolutely,
the entire
absolutely.
game.
But what
Well, everybody talked about how slick the field was, and that
Both
gave
teams
the
play on
Chiefs obviously both teams play on it, but that gave the Chiefs the advantage because the best thing about the Eagles was their pass rushing, and when nobody could get leverage at all, like that just gave
I mean,
that hampered.
you
If we
see
had played
everyone-
the Eagles in that game, we would have
did you
won.
see the Chiefs?
Everyone
the
talked about
groundskeeper
how
was a
good-
Chiefs fan.
Do what?
Do you see the groundskeeper was a Chiefs fan?
I mean,
It's like a bullcrap conspiracy, but
there's so
I was
much
about
that
ready to
goes
say,
into
like,
that.
how
They're
much
calling it Sodgate.
can we take
Yeah.
that for?
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
think it had any bearing at all, but it is actually, it's kind of funny because, like, I hate the conspiracy stuff, but it gives the conspiracy people so much cannon fodder. Like, this is well documented. Goodell had to have a meeting with this guy. He's like in his late 80s. He's like been doing this for
Oh, no,
forever.
I know. We actually talked this on the last sports
And
podcast. No,
he
I know.
had to kind of be like, hey, like, you got to kind of be like
This is part of Sodgate.
Sodgate.
too.
Yeah, exactly. Which it's a stupid conspiracy, but
Did y'all-
people love it.
It has
People
some
love it.
legitimacy. Did you see like them changing the cleats during the fucking game? Like the Eagles had fucking to switch their fucking cleats, and it kind of made you think that there might have
But
the
the
Chiefs
Chiefs
might
are
have
playing
something
on-
to-
Chiefs didn't,
They're
did
playing.
they?
They're playing on the same field. I
Yeah,
mean,
players do that all the time.
when it comes
change
down to
cleats,
it,
based on field.
when people are talking about the Eagles' defense the way that they did all year and saying that like it's the best defense in the league, the best defense in the league, no matter what happens, is not going to let fucking someone almost score 40 points on you in the Super Bowl.
Well, when your defense excels because of their pass rushing, and then their defensive backs just stick to you because they know their guys are going to get home up front, and that's not working now. Your defense that's really good is going to look like shit when you're not getting home. Like it's just kind of the way that system works. Like,
And that can happen
if
so
you're
easily.
getting home.
There's so much parity in the
I'm
NFL.
not
Something
saying
that
the Chiefs
a
could have
good
won
team
if
and a
the
bad team is
field
nothing.
wasn't bad. That was just like that really sucked for the Eagles because they had the third most sacks all time behind the 84 and 85 Bears.
But the one thing that you always have to preface that with is the Eagles played the second worst schedule in the NFL.
oh,
this
no
year.
doubt they had an easy ride the whole way.
Yeah, and it just kind of it showed where it really mattered in the Super Bowl. The defense didn't show up, and when we're talking about the game before that the Chiefs played against the Bengals, like they scored low 20s, completely different
Because
type of game.
our defense is legit.
Yeah, and
We had no pass
wrapping it
rush,
back
so.
around a little bit for what the Bengals are doing for the city of Cincinnati. We're starting to see
I was just talking about that.
we're starting to see like fans from all over start to hop on the bandwagon.
It's a cultural renaissance.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Burrow transcends being a sports player. He is a folk in Athens, in Baton Rouge. He becomes a folk hero. He becomes Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah.
Like he literally becomes this mythical figure, and it's like it's changed everything, dude.
I mean-
it trickles down the bars, the restaurants, the hotels. It
Oh
all
yeah,
helps.
big
Well,
time.
that-
It helps the
that-
economy in Cincinnati.
Extremely,
Big time.
dude.
And that's one
Extremely.
thing that helps, like with a sports team like the Bengals and an athlete like Joe Burrow that like is going to be on people's radar. He's going to be that like annoying Brady-esque fucking character.
But he's
like,
not annoying.
Like people are going to either love him or love to hate him. And when it comes down to it, that's going to bring people here. People are going to come and see this. And like you were kind of alluding to before, like we have that, like we're voted the most drunk fans in the NFL. The reason why that is, like, we have a bunch of microbrews. We have a really good nightlife, a bunch of really good
Huge
bars where
beer
people
history,
can go.
man. Huge
and when
beer
you're
history.
able to bring people in and show them a good time, that puts the city on the map.
With that, and we
Absolutely.
also have a lot of fans that are really depressed after the shit that we have
Demoralized.
to go through
Absolutely.
When's
with
the last
Cincinnati
time?
sports. Yeah,
When's the last time the Bengals had 2 players in the top 10 in jersey sales in the NFL? Never is the answer. But now they have Burrow and Chase.
Have
like
they ever even had one?
popular. Well, I'm sure
Chad
Ocho
Johnson.
Cinco.
Yeah, Ocho
was.
Cinco.
Yep.
probably.
Yep.
But that just that like shows that like our social media presence has like been really good too.
Oh,
It's
they're
like
killing
been
it.
one of the
Killing
the
it.
biggest like pushes, and then like some of the stuff they did before the games, like the light show they did,
The game balls.
and the playoff
the
I was
game.
about
fucking
to
game
say
balls.
the
Yeah,
game
the game balls, that
ZT
shit's
giving
cool.
game balls to fucking local.
Pat
or
McAfee said people are
actually
going to start
this year-
copying that.
Actually, after last year, he gave the game balls to like local bars and
Yep.
stuff, and this year he was giving the game balls to like
bars.
Bengals like backed bars in
Bengals
other
bars
cities.
abroad.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
Yep.
in other states and shit.
Which
yeah,
there's
it's really cool.
there's a huge one in Tampa Bay. They have like I think like 100 people
Well,
every
I mean,
Sunday.
I'm sure
which
in
is crazy.
Florida, just because so many people move
Actually,
down
yeah.
there.
yeah,
I
they
was
migrate
thinking
down
about
there,
that.
especially in the
And
wintertime.
my parents just moved to Florida January of last year, so it's been about a year. And they're in the Villages, which is a retirement community. And my dad tells me, he's like, there are a bunch of Ohio State fans.
Oh, yeah.
There's a bunch of Cleveland and Cincinnati. Because
What is there, 3 or 4 Skyline in Florida?
Well, where everyone goes to retire
Yep.
is down there,
Yep.
and they're bringing people in from
Yep.
like they've got Kansas City fans
Yep.
and like all over and stuff like that.
Yep.
But Ohio is the 6th most populated state,
Yep.
so there's going to naturally be a large community
Yep.
of them in the retirement.
About the Bengals, a little bit different subject about them. I was watching Bussin' with the Boys earlier, Taylor Lewan's podcast, and the
him
Titans just released him the other day, and they were talking about like teams, like destinations where he would want to go, and he didn't say obviously that he wants to go to Cincinnati, but like they were asking him questions, and one of the things he said was the Bengals need a left tackle. Like,
Did he really say that?
Oh yeah, on the podcast.
Well,
and
it's the
and
Burrow
like I said,
effect.
obviously
It's
well,
something
no doubt.
like this. This isn't our fucking daddy's bungles anymore. Now that we have done what we did the past 2 years, people want to come here.
Say
For
it again.
sure.
This is not your grandpappy's fucking Bengals anymore, and people have to understand. I have to understand that. Watching these playoff games, like you said, I'm fucking traumatized. I keep waiting for.
But you also have to respect what those people have went through
Oh,
during
absolutely.
the years
Yeah,
of,
of course.
of turmoil and
It's like
and
someone explained to
hell.
me, these guys like that are on our team now, they have no concept of that. Half these dudes weren't even born back
Well,
then. Yet
some-
when we like
Half
had
of them aren't from here.
Something
Exactly,
that
and
they've done
it's
really
different.
good with
The
the
culture's
drafting is they've drafted players that were captains on their teams or that played at winning programs, that played
Character.
in big games. Yet character
Character.
has been a
And
huge
it's such
thing.
a switch from
So
what we
like
used to
all
be.
these stars on our team have never been losers anywhere that they've played in sports, and now they're here, and like
glass
that
eaters.
nucleus is like of winners. Like that's a
Yeah, and I think that the Bengals have the strongest nucleus out of any team in the National Football League. I think that genuinely they have the most like team-oriented mentality out of any team.
They have
people
fun.
talk about our locker room,
They
like
have
our
fun, and
locker
you can
room
tell.
being so tight knit and like
I mean,
unique.
when Osai had that late hit to get the field goal to send the Chiefs to the Super Bowl or whatever, Hill was standing right next to
That
him in
was
that
awesome.
interview, and
Yeah.
fucking he was telling reporters like, "Don't ask that question. Like this is a young kid. He had a hell of a game. We don't need to do that."
But playing off that, do we have to release Jermaine Pratt for that exact same reason? Because
No, he was just
leaving the
mad
field,
and
though.
upset in the moment.
Yeah.
I mean,
Emotions can get the
Yeah,
best of you, and
of
it
course. I
wasn't
mean, you
even
wanna
that big
win
of a
that
deal,
bad, man.
for sure. But the teammates, each of the each of the players in that locker room have each other's back.
Absolutely, 100%.
Through so much, and I honestly, I know it's the Burrow effect, but let's give some credit to Zach Taylor too.
Oh, no doubt.
And I was the
just-
biggest
I-
hater
I-
for the longest time, dude.
Not enough.
He preaches what he preaches, and they believe what he's saying.
Exactly.
That's-
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
That's
the
a
culture
big
of what
deal.
he's building, and the players, they feed off of that energy from Zach Taylor.
The quarterback's coach had a better job offer to advance to a higher position.
Didn't want to take
But like he didn't want to go also because the Bengals upped his pay. So he was making like
he
close
wanted to play for
or
Zach
what
Taylor.
he would have been making somewhere else, but
Yep.
he wanted to stay here and be with Joe Burrow and the Bengals still.
And we kept Lou. He would have left.
We kept the whole coaching staff.
Cardinals made one of the biggest mistakes, and I guarantee you that you will see that next year. If you're going to hire a defensive head coach, Lou is the number one candidate that you should have hired.
The Cardinals need an entire culture change, and they're probably not getting it.
Someone needs to get Kyler Murray's head on straight because like the fact that he doesn't like I'm sorry like you can get away with that in college and in
Spends
high
more
school.
time like streaming video games.
He doesn't watch film at all.
Yeah, he does nothing to educate himself.
Zero film. Like you can't
like me
do that
trying
in
to
the
go from high
NFL.
school to
The
college.
defenses are too good.
wait, I can't just do this
The
all
windows are
in the
too
morning
small.
before
Like I cannot believe that's why they put it in his contract that he had to watch X amount of film a week.
that's bad.
And then everybody started bitching like, "Oh, you can't do that," and made a big deal about it. And then they I don't know if they took it out or like didn't make that an issue, but like I'm sorry if I'm the head coach of a team, like the quarterback's got to be the guy who's the first in the building, the last to leave, the hardest worker, rallying
That's
his
why-
teammates. Like
He's got to
That's
be
why-
Joe Burrow.
that's
He's
why-
got to be a Burrow.
That's why quarterbacks always win MVP because, like, as much as like you don't necessarily like to see it, but at the end of the day, the quarterback is the most valuable position on the football.
they have the
I don't
biggest
like that.
impact
Same
by
with,
far.
Same with the Heisman.
No, I agree with
Changed
that. It's
the
definitely
Heisman
a
and
quarterback. But see, the
Are you
quarterback.
saying you disagree with it?
No, I'm saying that.
Who just said they disagree with it?
He did.
I probably meant to say I agree, but the MVP and the Heisman Award are essentially like they are a quarterback's award. Like,
You have a better chance of winning the Heisman, like
Yeah,
if
as
you're
a
like a running
quarterback.
back or something.
when
'cause
was the last
college
time
is
a
little bit
defensive
different.
player won the Heisman?
Charles Woodson.
Charles Woodson.
Yeah.
But like, here's the thing.
But running backs win it all the time.
Touche. Okay.
Yeah,
that's what you
to
walk
go
back.
to.
Well, running backs can go off in college like they can
Right.
in the NFL. Yeah.
Actually, now I forget what I was going to say. Go on.
Sorry.
There's not enough. The reason for that is in college, like there's not as much speed in the outsides. Because when I first started watching football, I was like, in the NFL, why don't they just run to the outside? Well, you don't realize how fast those guys on the outside are. That
College
closes
and
off.
NFL are
fast.
so different.
The
So
leap,
different.
The leap from a defensive player from college to the NFL is so absolutely insane.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a reason
Oh, yeah.
why you watch a college game and like they're scoring 40, 50 points, and then when you watch a pro game, like you're lucky to crack 20.
And that's why you look at guys like Logan Wilson, people that come in and immediately make an impact, and it's like it's impressive, man.
yeah.
It's impressive.
And you were bringing up Pratt before, and like how the whole thing with Osai and him getting mad at him, if it affects him. It does. It definitely made me look at him in a more negative light or whatever.
Well,
but
Pratt-
I think that the whole thing with Pratt is that he's going to get paid somewhere else. And we don't necessarily need him because of someone like Wilson.
Right.
He's
who-
already upset. Like he took like all the stuff off his Instagram earlier in the season because he wasn't getting all the third downs because they were putting Akeem Davis Gaither on the field on third downs. But like even if Pratt is better than Davis Gaither, like at some point you got to get those younger guys playing time because eventually you're going to be counting on them to
Absolutely.
be that guy. So like
And what Pratt has
they're
to-
getting
his legs have to stay fresh.
Yeah, well,
he's going to be better.
well, and I mean, you want to get him the playing time, so that way, if someone gets injured or whatever, he's
Absolutely.
not just coming in and not knowing what
there's
he's
like
doing.
a balance. Like I personally think a lot of the reason that P. Ryan has been ripping off these crazy runs is because he's fresh.
Oh yeah,
Mixon, 6 years, and he's starting to have that the wear and tear. Look at Todd Gurley.
He's old for running back.
Todd Gurley was all world, and I'm pretty sure he was out of the NFL by like maybe 28, 29.
Yeah, he had a really short career.
So it's like
there's not very many Emmitt Smiths.
exactly.
No, there's
Frank
not.
Gore's.
The
That's
running
Frank
back
Gore.
the running back is very undervalued, right? Like I mean, less valued, I should say.
Yeah,
now
overvalued.
Overvalued, whatever you want to say. They're not as valued nowadays as they were when Adrian Peterson, guys like that were in the league. Every time.
Absolutely.
Well, now-
those guys. Why? Like that's why I said like they're talking about do we get rid of Mixon? Do we, what do we do with
torn on
Mixon?
it.
And it's like, man, the only reason why I'm so torn on any kind of changes like that, other than additions to our team, is because I just love the core and like the feel of what this team
The
represents.
guys, yeah.
I'm
The
all right.
brotherhood.
Fucking
Mixon's a
one
big
of them.
locker room guy too, and he's done everything
That's what
right
I'm
since
saying.
he's got here.
He
up
did the
until
coin
that
flip
incident.
celebration.
That's what like. There's so much
That's because he
that
scored on it.
there's so much that each one of these guys that are already on our team bring to the mindset of this winning mentality that we're building here in Cincinnati. That I would hate to we're fine without what was that, Uzama? We lost Uzama last year. I mean,
Uzama
but,
had a
We
terrible
picked
year
up fucking Hurst.
yeah,
but
for
he-
sure. But what I'm saying, like, he was a huge locker room
Oh
guy.
yeah, he was one of the vocal guys.
Someone
Huge
stepped
locker
right
room
up
guy.
in his
Yes.
place.
But
Yep.
Hurst.
So
kinda-
maybe it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
That's a valid point.
Well,
Uzama was like the locker room
Yes.
guy.
So
Well, the thing
maybe
is-
it wouldn't be that big of a deal if we did, but
Right.
it just I love the camaraderie that they've built.
maybe they can get Mixon to
Take less.
restructure his deal.
Yep.
Yeah, like
I don't think
Well,
that's going to happen.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with the whole Mixon situation. I'm okay with keeping him for 1 year, but he's old enough to the point where after his contract's over,
absolutely.
we
he's
don't
gonna-
need him anymore.
For
But
sure.
here's the thing, and this is what this goes for fantasy and him just signing on. He literally, with that one game he had last year, do you remember that? I think it was 4 or 5 touchdowns. That game immediately, like that, it literally changed everything. Like he could have that one game, he could have done nothing
Yeah.
for the rest of the year on either side, and that would have given him value
Yeah.
going into
And
next
people were hating on him a lot before that game, but after that game, he really didn't do all that much. I thought P. Ryan had better reps, except for like the Buffalo game where he went off again, but a lot of that had to do with our O-line just
Yep.
moving their
Yep,
defensive
100%.
line.
Well, P. Ryan runs north to south. There's two different styles of running, but like I legitimately believe they do like play off each other pretty well. Like
no, they do, and they were P. Ryan was his backup in college at Oklahoma.
Yes, yes.
So
Isn't that
they've
crazy to
been, they've
think
been in the
about?
same
Yep.
backfield for
Yeah.
a long time.
But is that by design? Because like, are we like, I've like read that like the Bengals essentially changed the NFL forever by drafting Jamar and passing up on the O lineman. The immediate success that we had, teams saw. They said, "Hey, you can go for the skill position players and build the chemistry." Like, because traditionally you build your team in the trenches, but you can go for a franchise quarterback and a big hitter, at wide out, and you can win like off that. Like,
Well, it all depends on what system you run, because obviously, like, there's a reason why we don't do a lot of 5-step drops and stuff, and that's because we know that Joe would get killed by doing it.
Yep.
And, like, the fact that Joe is so accurate and can actually play like that by getting the ball out so quickly and just nickeling and diming it down the field, like, some quarterbacks get sick of that and they want to try and take the big play and attack downfield.
And
Joe is for the
that's
team.
one reason why I'm not a huge fan of keeping Mixon is because we're way more pass oriented, and when it comes down to it, he didn't. Whether or not it was he performed because he's just getting old or fucking is just losing it a little bit, or we might have just not given him as many reps this year. But when we're a pass-oriented team, there's really no need to do that when we can fill the cap space somewhere else.
In order to be pass-oriented, you saw it multiple times this year. I'm drawing a blank, couple drinks on exact examples, but
The Kansas City game, if we would have
we had-
benefited a lot by running the ball.
and exactly, and even if you're not like producing a ton on the ground, it just has to
It
be a
opens up the pass.
possibility. Exactly,
Yeah.
because when
But I think that P. Ryan's a better running back for doing that.
Well,
Is
it's
it
just running back by committee is just a better thing, because like
Is there any team
somebody
that runs one running
each
back?
series, like the guy that
there
comes
is.
in is going to be fresh. Like
They're interchangeable at this point.
That's why those old school running back records and stuff for like rushing yards, they're never going to
Right.
be top
They'll
again
hold up,
because
yep.
every
Yeah.
team has 2 running backs.
Yeah, they'll hold
Yep.
up. But we also have Chris Evans, and we've got
we haven't utilized him
we
enough.
haven't utilized some
We have
of our young
Trayvon
guys.
Williams.
Trayvon Williams,
And
yeah.
then we have,
we've got some guys.
We got
I agree.
super fast. He failed a
I
drug
know who you're
test.
talking about. I can't remember his
Puka
name.
Puka Williams.
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that. But like that, we've got guys. Like
do.
but that's what I'm saying.
And is this live right now?
Yeah, it's live. We need to wrap it up here sometime soon.
Well,
Are
real
we
quick,
gonna do a sipping?
Speaking of skilled players,
Yeah.
have to give a shout out. This is honestly probably my favorite part of the entire year. Trenton Irwin.
Yeah.
Trenton Irwin coming out, and the whole reason that he made this team was because he's a locker room guy. And I'll
Yep.
tell a real quick story. So I'm in a Bengals Facebook group, and there's a gentleman from, I forget where he lives, but somewhere in Cincinnati, and I forget, his brother or something was killed in a shooting in Cincinnati, and kind of like had like a little like social media campaign, like me and a few other people on Twitter tried to reach out to like news personalities and other people in the organization, because his family's like, hey, it would be awesome if we could have a Bengals player, come to the visitation. And I'll be damned, fucking on
Irwin
like
was the guy.
yes, and like literally like 2 hours notice, and also
And the dude's got hands.
Pac-Man Jones also showed up. So people want to talk about Pac-Man. Man's got a
Yeah,
heart
I mean,
of gold.
like
He's taking care of Chris
literally,
Henry's kids.
Pac-Man was a great Bengal, fucking great DB. He was just hood and fucking.
That's literally all it is. He is a good dude. He's just from the hood.
And
That's
we're not
literally
we're
all
not
it
that
is.
Bengals anymore, and that's a lot easier to market as like we were talking about
for
before
sure.
with like the entire city and the sports.
What was
bringing
the
it in.
old joke? It's like you have 5 people, or you have what is it? There's 5 Bengals in a car, and someone's driving. Who's driving? I butchered the fuck.
I
out
have
of that.
no idea what.
Yeah,
you're talking
no.
about.
It was like there's 4 people in a car. Who's driving? Or there's 4 Bengals in a car. Who's driving? And the answer was the cops.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All that to
Yeah,
get to that.
Right around.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Let's move on. We're not going to do everyone's what you've been sipping on, even though Jeff just left us. He might not get in for the rest of this episode. But what you've been sipping on, Drew?
Yingling, bro.
Not physically what you've been sipping on, like media, any type of shows you've been watching, music you've been listening to.
Oh shit. Music. The Grateful Dead, and the Grateful Dead, with the side of Jerry Garcia band. I like both types of music.
Yeah.
The Grateful Dead and the Jerry band.
He's a big Deadhead.
Yeah, big
Nice.
time.
I respect the Grateful Dead and what they've done for music culture and shit like that. It's the fans that kind of get to me.
Honestly, I appreciate that. That's all I want is that people to understand the impact that the Grateful Dead. Like, you can't tell the story of America without the Grateful Dead. They were a centerpiece of the counterculture movement in the '60s. Like, and also. Even
They played at Original Woodstock, right?
Yes, and even you and the EDM scene and the festival scene, you have a lot to thank for the Grateful Dead because
There's
like,
a lot of fucking deadheads in the.
Oh yeah, and that like whole like just like I don't know, like they didn't like start music festivals, but the whole like like hanging out in the lot and the whole
That whole
like communal,
culture kinda,
exactly.
yeah.
It has a lot.
They
to
created
do
a
with that.
movement big time.
What's that?
They created a movement big time.
100%, and it still persists to this day. I mean, you see Dead and Company shows I go to, they're sold out like every single show,
they're gonna
25,
bring their
30,000
fans.
people.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, they have one of those. You don't want to talk about Billy Strings?
Oh, I do want to talk about Billy Strings. Believe me, I fucking do. Oh, we have some homies at a show right now, actually, in Nashville at the Bridgestone.
Wait, what?
I think Kelly and all those girls are at Billy right now at the Bridgestone.
Oh, he's playing in Nashville?
Yeah,
Okay.
2-night run.
Yeah.
But real quick, so what I would like to say about Billy is I genuinely believe this. You guys know Stevie Ray Vaughan, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he played the blues, right? So the blues is kind of like jazz or bluegrass in a sense, right? It's like a not real popular, like mainstream. It's somewhat niche, but Billy has the potential to do for bluegrass what Stevie Ray Vaughan did for the blues. He can make it cool. He can make it. I don't know if I want to say mainstream, but like.
He's already kind of getting there, bro.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like legitimately, like he's won a Grammy. Like it's cool. Like it's cool to go see, Billy Strings. And like for years, you think of bluegrass. Like people have laughed at me. People still do laugh at me. They're like, oh,
It has a connotation.
Exactly.
to it.
Some dude sitting up on his porch in West Virginia,
Right.
one tooth, but it's not,
Yeah, playing the spoons.
it is
Right.
kind of like that, but it's also not like that. At the same time.
Yeah, there's different types of it.
Yes.
Just like there's a
Yep.
million different types of fucking
Yep.
rock genres
Yep.
and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, and
Absolutely.
yeah, no, he's definitely doing a lot of things for the
Oh, yeah.
bluegrass
yeah.
community. But yeah, I think that that was good. We'll fucking end it right there, man. Fucking thank you for
Congratulations
coming
on 50 episodes.
right.
I love you guys. Thank you
Congratulations.
for having me.
Billy,
Thank you, man.
we
I
appreciate
appreciate
all your hard work and all the people that are involved in your house, our rules. The
Hell
family's awesome.
on. Hell yeah, I appreciate y'all. Peace, y'all.
Peace.